Hello, 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 hello. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time it may be when you all are tuning in to this broadcast. I am your international award winning author, all inspiring coach and empowerment specialist, Tennille M. Jackson. And I am coming to you guys with a very special edition of Inspirational Talk with Tennille. If you guys give me a quick second, both on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, everywhere where this is broadcasting. There are a few people I do want to tag in and get to this show because this is a very important topic. And so I want to, try to get it discussed. I want people to feel free to, come forward and share whatever you have to say on this topic. So you guys just give me a quick second and we're going to jump right into today's topic. Hold on one second. Okay, let's start here. All right, so let's do this. We already know protocol. As you guys come on, please feel free to number one, say hello. That way I can speak back, right? So, again, regardless of where you are watching from, whether you're watching this from Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, or Instagram, please feel free to say hello. Number two, I ask that you please like and share this video. Like and share the video. Number three, I ask that you tag somebody that you believe would benefit from this broadcast. Who would benefit from this broadcast is anybody who has ever either attempted suicide or who has ever thought about attempting suicide. And so I want for you guys to understand for the reason why. So there are a few different reasons why I am coming live with this. Number one, September is Suicide Awareness Month or Suicide Prevention Month, however it is that you look at it or how you call it. But that is one of the things, because September, there are a lot of things that go on in September. And again, one of the awarenesses that September is, it is about talking about the prevention of suicide. So, for those of you who have maybe been living under a rock and you have no idea what suicide is basically when someone attempts to take their own life. So, because I am all about empowerment, again, educated and empowered, what we do, we equip you with the information and inspiration to be your best self. Okay. Most of the time, if there is some type of month celebration, I do try to, just for the sake of helping to educate and empower others, I do like to bring attention and awareness to specific topics. This topic is very near and dear to my heart, because this was me. And so there have been some times where I have shared stories about my personal issues or encounters with this particular topic. And it's something that now I'm able to speak on a little bit more freely. Let me get a little bit more situated. I speak on a little more freely because of the fact that I have been delivered from this spirit of suicide. And I don't want for anybody to feel like, oh, she finna be totally spiritual with it or, whatever. It's not deep. It's real simple, y'all. It's real simple. A lot of times you may think that, or will say silly things such as, well, he or she didn't look crazy. People tend to mistakenly feel that you can look at somebody and just by looking at them, you can tell whether or not they are suicidal. And that is so far from true. Like, if you look at, there's a stat that I put out on a reel recently that said that from 2020, I'm sorry, from the year 2000 to 2021, that 50,000 deaths were caused by suicide. So basically, there was one every 11 minutes. And there are well known people that we know who have attempted, not even attempted, who did kill themselves as a result of suicide. We know Robin Williams killed himself. We know here lately, Twitch, who was a very popular DJ and dancer on the Ellen Show, killed himself. You have to also understand that this is not just about black or white or rich or poor, right? And a lot of times, again, these are the misconceptions that we have. These are what we tell ourselves. We say, okay, well, we will say something like, oh, well, that's a black person's problem. That's a white person's problem. That's a rich person's problem. That's a poor person's problem. That is how we categorize things in this society. And it is all of these things are just really poorly said and done, because the fact of the matter is that when it comes to suicide, you cannot look at somebody and tell if they are suicidal. Just because a person has titles does not mean, hey, Miss Tavetta, it doesn't mean that you're not suicidal. You cannot look at someone and just automatically assume that they've never been depressed or had a bad day in their lives. And again, I will say, when you look at celebrities, there is a list celebrities from the beginning of time who have killed themselves. People that, you would say to yourself, oh, I would change places with them in a heartbeat. Understand, you do not know what is going on with somebody just because of the fact that they have money. That does not eliminate the problems. Just because they have status, because they have fame, because they're well known, that does not eliminate, it does not eliminate the problem. Understand, it also is not just always about mental illness, right? We feel that a person must be, and again, we're such sometimes sometimes we can be a very heartless society, because we say things off the cuff with no thought as to how those words will come across, right? We use the word crazy very loosely to pretty much describe so much stuff. We use it very loosely. And the thing about it is, there are a lot of people who are suffering every day that you may never know. There are a lot of people that are going through issues that you may never know. Why? Because of the fact that they're afraid of being labeled, because they're afraid of being talked about, because they're afraid of being criticized and judged. And how can I talk about this with such conviction? Because I was one of those people. I was a such person who for years, not like I had a bad day and one time I thought about maybe trying to kill myself. No, this was, my bout with depression went on for almost 15 years. Okay, like, people who would look at me, and I am somebody who has not just a bachelor's degree, I have a master's degree. And I'm saying this because I want to put a face on this for you, right? Like, I want the talk to be done with what suicide looks like. Who would possibly attempt suicide? It must be something wrong with you if you're attempting suicide. Nobody in their right mind. I'm trying to dispel all of these myths that we hear. Nobody in their right mind would possibly attempt suicide. Let me tell you something. Life gets hard. That's the bottom line. It's not an excuse, but that's the bottom line. Life gets hard. And the fact of the matter is that everybody does not have the same resources. And when I say resources, I do not mean money, because again, I state loudly, how many celebrities do we know killed themselves. So understand that when you are in a suicidal mindset, it has nothing to do with your money, has nothing to do with your fame, right? Many times those things might be what actually contributes to the suicidal mindset. So do understand that never in a million years, again, think about yourself on the other end of it. Every time you hear about a person who committed suicide, is there ever anything in you that said, oh yeah, they did kind of seem like they was off a little bit? Oh yeah, they did kind of seem a little suicidal. Most of the time you could never tell. You would never know. When we got the news about Twitch, the guy who, again, who was on the Ellen show, he was a dancer, he was a DJ, like, he just done some TikToks with his wife and children. So everybody was taken aback because nobody could guess. Nobody, you think you know, but you have no idea. You have no clue what people are going through on a very daily basis. I posted a post earlier today, whether or not, and the post asked this question: have you or someone you know ever attempted or thought about suicide? There was a young man, and I pray that he tunes in. There's a young man who responded to the post, and I'm not Facebook friends with him, but he responded to the post and he said that he was thinking about suicide even right now because he can't take it anymore. And to that young man, I am praying for you. I tagged you in this video. His name is Marcus. Anybody who watches this video, whether you see this on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, Instagram, whether you watch this live or on the replay, I ask that you join me in prayer and praying for this young man. You don't have to know him. I don't know him, but I know his situation. I know what it feels like to want to let it go. I want know what it feels like to want to just leave it alone and feel like, you know what, life is better without me, or what difference does my life make? I don't matter. These are all tricks of the enemy. These are all thoughts that the enemy want you to think so that you will take yourself out, because he knows the purpose that rests on your life. And so what he's trying to do is he wants to take you out before you come into the realization of who you were called and purposed to be. And so, like I said, I speak on this topic very strongly because it was my life. Probably from the time I was maybe 17, 18 years old, I started dealing with depression. And other people might look at my life and say, well, why were you depressed? You know what? It doesn't matter. I was, because again, when you are not in that person's shoes, it's easy to say, oh, that's not a big deal. Why would you let something like that get you? Why would that be able to affect you so strongly? Well, it might not be a big deal for you. And maybe you have the capacity to where something like that doesn't bother you. But let me tell you, throughout my life, there were a lot of different issues that I went through that were major for me. At 17, 18 years old, I was in a situation that was very abusive, and not understanding how to get out of it, not seeing my way of how to get out of it. And I could not tell people about it. I had to live with it on my own, and it was affecting me. And that was kind of some of the things that started the depression. And I stayed in depression for a long time. I struggled with depression for a long time. And let me tell you, your depression may start off mild, and then before you know it, you're spiraling. You're in this, black, dark place, this hole that is hard to get out of. If you start feeling off, where you, and when I say that, you're not like yourself. You are starting to withdraw. You don't want to talk to anybody. You don't want to deal with anything. Like, while you still have the ability to have a hold on it, talk to somebody. Even if it's not a licensed professional, talk to somebody. And let me say this: if you become a person that somebody who's going through something decides to talk to, please do not betray that trust. Please do not just like laugh it off or act like it's not a big deal. Because what you may not know is that when people are going through, sometimes it's all they could do to get the strength, to get the energy to share whatever that problem is. So the last thing they need is to be made fun of. The last thing they need is to be belittled. The last thing they need is to be talked about, to be shrugged off like it doesn't matter, because you already feel like you don't matter. So the last thing you need, and for many people, when you try to talk to somebody, it's like a last ditch effort because you're trying to give yourself hope. And I think that people have to really understand how depression works. Yes, I was clinically depressed. Yes, I was prescribed medication for my depression. My depression went on. I dealt with depression probably for about, from the time I was like 17 to 27. So for 10 years, I dealt with depression. And every time it was something else that was contributing to it. It was never like, okay, well, it ended and then it started back. I never was completely over it and then it just got deeper. Like, I went from the situation I talked about first to when my mom died when I was 22, having to deal with that. And then, I just had a string of deaths that happened. I was having issues in my marriage. I didn't know, like, life was just too big and too hard. And I did not know what to do. I did not know who to talk to, because all of my life, I've always been looked at, perceived to be, on top of my game. And there, if you got a problem, you go to Tennille and ask Tennille, and people didn't know. Tennille didn't know what to do. Like, Tennille was struggling. I've always been an encourager, so I've always been the type of person who could sacrifice myself for the greater good. I could always put my feelings on the back burner so that I could encourage somebody else. But let me tell you, like, I when you talk about pouring from an empty cup, I don't even know if I had a cup no more. Like, it was very hard. First time I attempted suicide was when I was 19. Um so again, when I'm sharing these things, this is not something I take lightly. But at the end of the day, it's not something that I'm ashamed of anymore. It's not something I'm embarrassed about, because I understand that God allowed me to live for a reason. I understand that there is no way in the world, if it wasn't God, if there was no such thing as a God, there's no way I could still be here, because I did not just attempt suicide once. I attempted suicide, I think, at least 4 times. I remember at 19, I defensively remember that, taking pills and pills and pills. Um, and it didn't work. And I don't know if this is a show that I'm gonna go into each attempt, like, with details, but just putting it out there. At 23, so this is after I had my first daughter, and I was just struggling everywhere in every part of my life. So maybe some of it was also postpartum, but you combine the fact that my mother died months before my first daughter was born, like 2 months before she was born, my mother died. I don't know if that's a mixture of depression with postpartum, But whatever it was real and it was hard. I went through a lot of different situations. But 25, tried again. 27, tried again. And I didn't attempt the same way each time. I think I tried twice with pills, but I tried once. Um, I don't even know if I'm, yeah, no, I'm not. I thought that I was ready to go into the different mindsets where I was at the time. And as I'm thinking over it, is bringing me to a place. And this has been over 16 years ago, y'all. Like I have, I have not thought about killing myself. I have not attempted killing myself in over 16 years, and it's still hard to go back and to talk about. But I do that because there's somebody who's living in it right now. There's somebody who this is their present moment. And you need to know, baby. Let me tell you, I don't care who you are, male, female, old, young, black, white, everything in between, rich, poor. You need to know that there is life after. There is life after this, after every dark moment. I promise you, there is life after. There is more, there is better, there is greater, but you got to keep living to find out. You got to keep living to find out. Like, I remember after I had my first stroke, and I was like less than a month away from my 25th birthday. And the depression came back heavy because at that time I was very uneducated about stroke, who it affects, how it affects. I thought I'd done something wrong. And here I am, not even 25 years old, and I can't walk by myself. And I need people to help me to do this, that, and the third. So depression came back hard. And it almost was exponentially quick to, like prior times, it took time for me to work up from depression to suicidal thoughts. And after my stroke, hey, Miss Beatrice, after my stroke, my first stroke, it didn't take long to go from depressive state to suicidal state to, like you can't even go to the bathroom by yourself. What good is your life? You know, what um it was something else. It was something else. And when you go through a lot of stuff, because life is hard, it is so critical that you have a strong support system. Matter of fact, a strong non-judgmental support system, because when you are always the strong one, people don't know that you need strength too. And because you're always looked at to be the strong one, nobody ever fathoms that maybe you could be having an off day, or week, or month, or quarter. Like, nobody ever fathoms that maybe you just ain't got it today. People don't take the time to know you well enough to know you just faking the smile today. It ain't really a real smile. This is I don't know what else to do, so all I can do is smile, smile. So you have to, it is so important that you have people to know who you actually are so that you can feel safe when you're not that person. You can feel safe telling somebody, I'm struggling right now. I am not okay. Can you babysit the kids for a little bit? Or can we just go for a drive? Or can we go for a walk? And you don't have to worry, especially in this day and age. Because I will say this, at least when I was going through my bouts, social media was not a huge thing. Baby, nowadays you gotta you gotta worry about everything going viral. You know, it's the very thing that you might want to be private, or you might know this was an off moment. Somehow that thing gets, caught on camera, and then now it becomes a viral situation. It's it's something else. It's something else. Like I say, 20 plus years ago, I don't even know. I know I wasn't even. I don't know if Facebook was a thing. 20. How many years ago is that? About. It's been a minute. It's been 24 for. It's been almost 19 years ago. I ain't been on Facebook for 19 years. So when I first was going through some of my health issues, Facebook would have never known had I not come on Facebook to share something. It wasn't possible for it to be known. But there are a lot of people who now are going through things, and um, people, real insensitive. They want everything caught on camera. Everything ain't meant to be on camera, y'all. Eh, if a person ain't giving a consent, everything ain't funny. Everything ain't meant to be shared. Everything ain't public. Like, people should be able to feel safe talking to you. People should feel safe um, being able to be vulnerable. The actress says it's such a blessing to be a safe space for someone in return to have a safe space. Absolutely, absolutely, it's worth more than riches and wealth. Because you may think that you have that, and here's the scary part. People may think that they offering that, but you never know until the person is going through, right? And so, like I said, I'll probably come back with this, probably probably this entire week. Um or I'll see. We'll just see. But I definitely want to talk about suicide this month because it is Suicide Awareness Month. I need you all to understand that this is not an old person's thing or a young person's thing. This is not a black person thing or a white person thing. This is not a poor person's thing or a rich person's thing. This is a people thing. This isn't oh well, you must be bipolar, you must be schizo. Like, we are so insensitive as a society sometimes. Like, s- you don't know what a person is going through, and they don't have to have a diagnosed mental disorder or disease or illness to be plagued with or plagued by suicidal thoughts, suicidal tendencies. Like, you don't even understand. And it's nothing but the grace of God that can help you to be delivered from it. Because depending on how long you've gone through it, that spirit can have a strong hold on you. Like, I went to church. I was born and raised in church. I knew scriptures. I could quote the Bible. I was able to quote the Bible from times like 8, 9 years old. Um, that wasn't helping me because when I got in that dark space, In those days, I wasn't solid enough in my relationship with God to go to him first. I was so dark for a long time that um I was just existing. I had stopped living. I was just existing, you know, on autopilot. And so many people you don't know, may not know, but that's how they walking around. So this is why I tell y'all all the time, be kind to people. It don't cost you nothing to be kind. It costs you absolutely nothing to be kind to people. Your kind word may very well change somebody's life. Your kind word may very well offer somebody hope. So be kind to people. Again, today I just wanted to bring up generically the fact that this is Suicide Awareness Month. Want to give you all to understand what suicide is and is not, who could potentially suffer with suicidal thoughts. Stop thinking that you know just because of how a person looks, because it has nothing to do with their looks, has nothing to do with their status, their title, their fame, their fortune. It's the fact that sometimes life gets hard. And when life gets hard and you don't have a support system, you don't have stability, you don't have trusted sources to turn to, you feel like you got to go through it by yourself. And the best thing that you can do is create a sense of community. Let people know what you're going through, whether it's one person, five people, whatever. Don't suffer alone. Don't suffer alone. There is somebody who cares. I watched this video, I'm about done. I watched this video on TikTok, and I follow this guy. I had never heard of him before TikTok. His name is Jimmy Darts. If you guys do not follow him, I encourage you to follow him. His name is Jimmy Darts, and he's a young guy. And he basically just goes around blessing people. He'll ask people, well, if you had a choice to get $500, to receive $500, or to give away 1,000, what would you do? And he gives them that option. He'll go to people and he'll just say, hey, I need some change. Do you got some change that you mind giving me? And if they give it to him, then he'll bless them back. Like, and there's this one video in particular. I'll probably share it to social media after this video. He runs across a homeless veteran. First of all, in my world, those two words should be oxymoronic. There is no way a veteran, somebody who gave his life, his or her life for their country, put themselves in harm's way, physically, mentally, and emotionally. There is no way a veteran should ever be homeless. But we going to another show for another day. But he runs across a homeless veteran. He asks the veteran if he has some change, and the veteran gives him the change. So he gives him back the change along with $500. And the guy asks him, he had asked him why he did it. And he just told him because he was a kind person. And he ends up following back up with him because he has fans. Jimmy Darts does. And the fans ended up raising, I think it was $35,000 for this man. A man they didn't know. And this is what I'm trying to tell y'all. You don't have to know people to be kind to them. You don't have to know people to be kind to them. And so he ends up following back up with the man saying, hey, my followers, they raised $35,000 for you. And it broke him down. He was like, he couldn't even believe it. And he was saying that he was thinking about killing himself. He said, because I felt like who would care? Maybe he said probably nobody but my son. He said, but now I'm glad that I didn't. He said, I'm glad that I didn't because I would have missed this blessing. And that's why I say, hello, Miss Michelle. And that's why I say again to whomever is watching this video, whatever platform you see it on, whether it be Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, or Instagram, please know that as hard as your life may seem right now, please know that it is just temporary. Suicide is not the answer. Killing yourself is not the answer. Finding community is. Finding people who understand is. Someone who is non judgmental. Even if you cannot afford a professional therapist or psychologist or psychiatrist or counselor, whatever name, find somebody that you can trust, that you can talk to. For those of you who are spiritual enough, and all you need to do is talk to Jesus, talk to Jesus. But for those of you who right now you might be so dark that you can't figure it out, talk to somebody who might then be able to lead you to Jesus. But I want to end with this because this is something that is near and dear to my heart. Um, there are a lot of there are a lot of um, causes that I could support and kind of do in my own way, right? Like obviously cancer is something that will always mean something because my mother and so many others that I know passed away from cancer. Um, Autism, Down syndrome, um, stroke. Obviously, I'm a stroke survivor. There are certain causes that are just very near and dear to me. And what I do every May, I always do something for the month of May to highlight stroke awareness, that stroke awareness month. But I was reading on Facebook the other day, and I want to share this with you all. Put this here. So on Saturday, October 21st, Instagram, you're not able to see it, but I will share it to you all as well. On Saturday, October 21st, if you are in Chicago, the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention, they are going to be doing a walk. It's called the Out of the Darkness Community Walk. And I plan on joining them. I plan on joining them because I know that struggle. They have beads that people will be able to get, like when I say beads, a necklace, and they're different color beads. Every depending on the color that you get will communicate your message. So like if you lost a loved one to suicide, you lost a friend to suicide, if you yourself attempted suicide, if you know someone who attempted suicide, they have one that's just to represent suicide prevention, but wearing your necklace will tell your story. That they are also doing a fundraiser. Now this is one I know for certain causes you have to actually pay to participate. For this one, you do not have to pay to register, but if you raise at least $150, then it allows you to get a t-shirt. For me, it's not about the t-shirt, but I probably will be doing some type of fundraiser for this. I'm going to connect with them because, again, I plan on being there. It's on the north side of Chicago, Montrose Harbor. For those of you who know it by that name, 601 West Montrose, if you need an actual address, Saturday, October 21st. The walk starts at I'm sorry, the event, you can get there at 9 a.m. for check-in and all of that stuff, but the walk starts at 11 a.m. and it's only a 3 mile walk, y'all. It's only a 3 mile walk, and you're basically walking in a circle. And so I'm gonna be there. Once I figure out how to raise funds for it for them, I want to be able to, do that so that if any of you would like to contribute to this cause, for this cause, you can do so. Um, but this is something that means so much to me because of the fact that this could have been me. This could have been me. Deatrice says it's very near and dear to my heart. My mom's baby brother committed suicide about 25 years ago. It wrecked his children and the family. And we still can't and still our family can't even say the word suicide after all these years. Let me tell you something. People, a lot of times people want to know, why would somebody kill themselves, and or how could they kill themselves? Either one of those questions are typically the most common question when it comes to suicide. Why would they kill themselves, or how could they do it? And let me, as someone that many of you probably look at as a trusted, respectable source, because this was me, let me share with you the mindset. Obviously, I cannot tell you this is every person's mindset who has ever committed suicide, but I can tell you what mine was. It was never about hurting my family. It never had anything to do with my family from the time when I was 19. It was not about hurting my parents. I wasn't married or, a mother at that point. So it was, really just my parents. And it was not about hurting my parents. In fact, they were the ones who I called to say goodbye after I had taken all the pills I had taken. Um, I had probably taken almost like a half a bottle of Tylenol. And so I had called them because I basically just took pills until I couldn't take pills no more. And I had called them to tell them goodbye and that I loved them. So it had nothing to do with trying to hurt my parents or trying to get back at them. I had just reached a point where I felt like I couldn't do it anymore. I felt like life was no longer worth living. So, for those of you who have lost family members, friends, loved ones to suicide, know that it has nothing to do with you personally. Most of us who have ever been in that mindset, it was because we could not fathom continuing life. Because and especially if suicide is a result of having been depressed, depression starts to hurt, like physically, mentally, it hurts. And you get tired of hurting. That's all I can tell you. Like, when you're struggling every day to wake up, and again, depends on how deep your depression ran. Um, it's so many thoughts that run through your head, so many things that are being told to you, and you get tired of the thoughts in your head. So sometimes it's like, I just don't want to be bogged down by these thoughts no more. So that's one of the reasons. I mean, each time I tried to kill myself, it was always a different reason, but it was never personal. As harsh as that may sound, it was never personal. Three of the times when I tried to kill myself, I was married with children. Well, the first time I just had one daughter. I was not trying to hurt my daughter. I felt like um that she would be better off without me. I felt like I was no longer able to add value to her. And it was like it would be much better for her if I wasn't here. That's how I felt. I wasn't right, but that's how I felt. Um, Deatrice, you're absolutely right. You say I never thought he meant to hurt the family. He was such a kind man. I believe he was hurting and didn't have anyone to tell his troubles to. That's probably very, very true. Tavetta says, I'm thankful that the plan of God prevailed and you are still here because your life is so valuable and you have made such a positive impact with your life. I'm praying for your continued strength. Thank you. Y'all don't even understand how humbled I am just to be able to wake up every morning because I remember those dark days. And again, it's been 16 years, 16 years since I um, tried to kill myself. It's been 16 years since being depressed, but it's still here. And I don't know that it ever will be a time that it won't be because I know this. You understand? Like when people start talking about, because ain't nowhere in the world life is just that bad. Because what's wrong with you when you, I, I just stop and I pray for that person because I know that you just don't know. You don't know. You can only talk about what you know about. And if you've never been depressed, first and foremost, thank God because it's not a good place to be. I ain't talking about if you woke up and you didn't feel good. I ain't talking about you woke up and you was sad. Depression's a little bit deeper and darker than just a sad day. But if you've never experienced depression, instead of talking about the people who have, instead of feeling like somehow you're superior because you've never been there, instead of trying to demean and belittle people who have, first thing you want to do is thank God that that is not your struggle because it's not an easy one to handle. Because I suffered through depression, I didn't just suffer with it, I suffered through it because I kept going, not of no goodness of my own, but because God gave me the grace to go through. He has enabled me to be able to see it on other people, identify other people who suffer with depression, and to help them to come out the same way that He didn't let me fall. Jesus. Because I didn't deserve a second chance. We think that this thing called life is so hard. And it's hard when you go through it alone. It's hard when you go through it with the wrong mindset. But it's such a gift. It is such a gift when you get it. When you get that it's not about you. And I promise you, every day I have lived with such gratitude because He saved me time and time and time and time again when I didn't understand the purpose for my life. He did. When I felt like everybody in this world would be better off without me. He knew that wasn't the case. And when I look now, we just got finished last month celebrating a gala, and it's 10 years of APS. APS happened afterwards. Me becoming an author happened afterwards. A filmmaker happened afterwards. Like all of these different things that I've been able to accomplish. I had no clue at 27, at 23, at 25. I had no clue. But he has so much grace and so much mercy that he said, I will not allow you to do this to yourself because I know what is in store for you. And it didn't have to be. And I'm just grateful, y'all. So every day now, you all see me living a life of purpose, living in purpose, with purpose, on purpose. You see that because I know the other side. I know what it's like to not have hope. So now that I have it, I hold on to it for dear life. And anytime I see somebody else out there, I can't help but try to pull them back in. Your life is so worth living. I will end with that again. Your life is so worth living, even though it might not seem like it now. Keep going. And so, again, I say, guys, I might be coming and asking y'all for help. I don't know. I'm going to see. But on Saturday, October 21st, especially for those of you who are either in Chicago or don't mind coming to Chicago, let me know. For all of my women, I'm going to be hidden. I'm glad to be a woman up with this message. If you all would like to connect, meet up, whatever, you want to walk, this is such a great cause. Because trust me, people need to know that you care. And you might not think that you're doing nothing. You being there. You're being there. And your presence matters. For somebody who is going through depression heavy, just knowing that somebody is there, it matters. It makes all the difference in the world. So I'm going to be there. October 21st, I'm walking. As long as I'm alive and got strength and breath in my body, October 21st, I plan on being there. And even if you can't be there, there are a couple things that they're saying, hey, if wherever you are in the world, you want to do your walk from wherever you are, walk with us. And if you want to contribute, you want to donate, feel free to do that as well. But somebody's life is worth it. It matters. It matters. It matters. It matters. So for real, y'all, for real, I'm gone. I just want to thank you all so much for tuning in. Continue to pray for myself. Continue to pray for others. Because again, I thank God for delivering me. And maybe that needs to be a whole nother show of how I got to the other side of it. Um, but this ain't about me specifically. The only reason why I even brought me up was to give you to understand that it could be anybody. It could be people that you know. You just don't know that you know because they may not share it with you. But I don't have anything to be ashamed or embarrassed about anymore. I thank God for coming into my life, breathing into me. Romans 8:1 says, there's therefore now no condemnation, none, none. So I don't condemn myself anymore. I'm not embarrassed. I'm not ashamed. Everything we go through, prayerfully, we grow through. And whatever it is that we grow through is for us to go and help bring somebody else back so that way they don't have to suffer. and they definitely don't have to do it alone. But thank you all so much for tuning in. Again, tomorrow night, Inspirational Talk with Tennille returns tomorrow night. I will have the cast of this upcoming play. Y'all, I'm trying to think about the name of the play. I know Donnell Brooks is in it. So y'all just tune in tomorrow at 7 p.m. But I'll probably be live as well at 2. So my lives will resume new at 2. This was something different. This was something totally different. But normally I'll be new at 2. But on Tuesdays, it'll be 2 and 7. So 2 is my educated, empowered. So we'll be doing educated, empowered, and aspects of entrepreneurship. So one day I'm life coaching, one day I'm lit coaching. That's how it's gonna be, y'all. We'll be going live 2 days a week. But then, like I say, on Tuesday, I'll be going live twice because the morning it'll be the podcast, and at the end we'll be doing inspirational talk with Tennille. So you guys will be seeing that. But again, I'm going to put the video, I'll share the video about the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention on my wall. I will share that video that I was telling you guys of Jimmy Darts, so that way you can see that as well. But tell somebody that you love them today. It ain't gotta be your family member. It could just be a random person. Just pick a person, hey, I love you, or hey, you can make it, or hey, you got this, or I'm proud of you. Just some type of encouraging word. Take 2 seconds. 2 seconds. Just pick a random person. 2 seconds. I'm proud of you. I guarantee you it will make all the difference in the world. If nothing else, it will make them smile. And even if it don't make them smile, it did not hurt you one bit. Didn't hurt you one bit. So if you want to be, extra special, get 3 people. 3 people that you don't know. Just want to let you know I'm proud of you, or just want to let you know you can make it. You got this. Take a couple seconds to do it. It could very well change their day and maybe even their world. Thank you all so much for tuning in. Y'all, I love y'all so much you don't even know. But like I say, we got Right Life and Wife Life. So I'll be going live intentionally, y'all. I got courses that I'm working on, coaching programs I'm developing. It's a lot of different things that's gonna be jumping off. But I'm gonna start going back live 2 days a week. And I know some of you all are, you're not able to tune in live, and that's okay. You'll be able to see it on a replay. But feel free to make whatever comments that you want to make in the comment section. If you want to connect with me, you can find and follow me at my name is Tennille across social media platforms, whether it be Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, YouTube, Wisdom, X, which used to be Twitter, TikTok. You can find and follow me because everywhere that I am is all about giving you content that's geared to educate and empower. What do? We equip you with the information and inspiration to be your best self. So, with that, guys, I love you all so much, and you all have a blessed rest of your day.